Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the Iron Diaper, which is your regular Gundam news show, and when this happens, that means there is some Gundam and Gunpla news. So over the last 2 weeks, we had some announcements from Bandai. They're up on their website now, so we can check those out, and we also had Winter Wonder Festival, which had a bunch of awesome stuff from Mega House. But before I actually get into the news, first off I have to thank Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video and for offering you guys 83% off and 1 month extra for free. So we're gonna do the non-Gunpla stuff first, so all of these pictures are from the Ami Hobby News website, which you can see right there, so I will put a link to that website down there in the description so you can check these out for yourself. So let's check out the Gundam stuff from Winter Wonder Festival. So scroll. So first off, we've got this awesome statue right here. So this of course is a guy who needs absolutely no introduction, but maybe the line of statues does. So of course this is the Gundam Guys Generation line of anime statues from Mega House, and this of course is none other than Amuro Ray. This version of course is from Char's Counterattack and looks great. Personally, I've got a shelf dedicated to Amuro suits and a shelf dedicated to Char suits. I don't have a statue of Amuro for on the Amuro side. I do have a Char Aznable, so this is something I need in my collection. As for the price of this and the announcements, there is nothing official yet, so you're gonna have to wait a little while before knowing about that. And just on the off chance you're interested, we also got 2 more of these statues from Mega House. One is from Gino Reconquista, and the other is from Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise. Next on the list, and this is my second most excited about thing from the Mega House lineup. The one I'm most excited about I'm going to talk about last because it is awesome, but this is pretty cool, especially if you're into Gunpla and into Zeta Gundam. So this is the catapult deck from the Argama from Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. This is 1/44th scale, so that means it is to scale with high grade kits, and apparently it's a full meter long. This thing looks great. You can see what I assume is the high grade Zeta Gundam, high grade Mark II, and the high grade Rick Diaz on there. And this will make an absolutely fantastic display piece if you got the space for it. And also if you have the money for it, because when it comes to Mega House's stuff that you can use with Gunpla, or stuff that is based in the Gundam universe, they tend to be on the pricey side. So honestly, this is something I'm super excited about, but I'm not excited about seeing that price tag. As for a release date, we do have that. That is autumn of this year, but we do not yet have how much it's going to set you back. So scrolling down a little bit further, and we have this. So you might be like, okay, so it's a normal suit helmet. But the best thing about this particular normal suit helmet is it is full scale. Obviously, this isn't the finished piece. I assume it's going to be colored, maybe clear and see-through so you can stick it on your head, but that's pretty fun. But what I really want to talk about this time is this. Have you ever wanted a 1-year war battled on your desk? And I don't mean mobile suit battle, I mean infantry battle. Well, now you can. So it doesn't say anywhere whether these are figures or model kits, but guessing from the joints that I'm seeing on these are going to be figures. It is Mega House after all, so figures make sense. So these are Gundam Military Generation, and I assume they're figures, and of course that is Zeon Infantry. These things look awesome. There's 4 of them we can see here. I have seen other pictures on Twitter that show that big lineup. You can kind of see in the background there that there is a whole bunch of different bodies and heads. There's nothing necessarily about the size yet, so I'm not sure about that, but look at that weaponry. Look at the guys. Look at the difference between them all. That is 4 different body types right there. Taking a look at the joints on the side of this particular guy's arm right here, it makes it kind of look like these might be a little bit on the smaller side. But without a doubt, these are awesome. I hope we're going to see some Fetty guys as well, and this is something I'm super excited about. But yeah, that is pretty much it for Gundam announcements from that event, so I will throw the link to this exact page right here down there in the description if you want to check this out, and all the other awesome things in the Mega House booth at this year's Winter Wonder Festival. So anyway, onto the Gunpla. So as usual, when I'm talking about Gunpla releases, I always get my news from this page right here, which is essentially the source itself. This is the Bandai hobby site release schedule. It's got all the official images, etc. If you want to check this out, I have put the link once again down in the description. If you've seen any of these videos before, you've seen this before as well, and this basically has everything that's coming out, like this right here, which is the real grade tall geese. Or not! Man, every time I try to look on this website, this happens. Basically, I get blocked because I'm not in Japan. It's like I need some kind of thing that makes the internet think I'm somewhere I'm not. Something like VPN. Thank you to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. A VPN, or virtual private network, is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety. Surfshark encrypts all the data sent via the internet so that no one can see your passwords, private messages, steal photos, videos, sensitive data, or know what you're doing online. You can also change the country you're accessing the internet from to access and unblock content. Do you ever get sick of the lack of classic Universal Century Gundam anime on the likes of Crunchyroll, YouTube, and even Netflix? Set Surfshark to Japan and access and unblock Japanese Netflix, where they've got it all. 0079, 8th MS Team, F91, and personally, I'm getting back into Zeta Gundam. You can even find fully subbed anime like Beastars that doesn't even hit Western Netflix till next month. Get your dramatic fix of furry romance before any of your friends. I mentioned I'm a dog, right? So that's not weird. Using a Japanese VPN on Surfshark also means you can access the Gundam channel here on YouTube that gets content earlier than Gundam.info, including the G-Reco miniseries, and that channel had the awesome G40 short weeks before it was available in the West. Surfshark is the only VPN to offer one account to use on an unlimited amount of devices. Use my code to get 83% off plus 1 extra month for free. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to try it out for yourself. Link is in the description below. Once again, all my thanks to Surfshark for supporting the channel. So as for the biggest, newest announcements, I'm going to be going through them by series. First off is going to be this right here because it is the OG, and you might be like, another high-grade RX 78-2. What could be different here? Well, for one, this is only 2,200 yen. It will be coming out in June of this year, and this is the Beyond Global version of the high-grade Granddaddy Gundam. That is the RX 78-2. So what does make this different than, say, the Revive we saw a couple of years ago, or the G40 Gundam that we saw very recently? So essentially, this is a bit of everything Bandai has ever done crammed into one. Sort of like a showcase of all of their technology. This consolidates everything they've ever done in high grade into one kit. So for one, it looks fantastic. There's some nice part separation, some interesting looking joints in here, and it almost looks like it's got a full frame inside of everything there. This is one thing I love to see on a kit, when the shoulders can flare out to the front like this, like we've seen before on Narrative, Leopard Da Vinci, the Jim, etc. I really feel high grade has to go this way, and I think Bandai is the exact same way too. This, they're putting into a lot of their new kits, and this looks particularly well engineered. On top of the fact that it can swing out like this, it can also move upwards. It looks like this will also be a no polycap build, which always makes me happy. We've got an extra little bend just before the hand, so that will be combined with the ball joint. And we've got this interesting little bit of a dip in the upper leg. It's not on the G40 crazy leg syndrome sort of way, where the leg kind of bends out like a second knee from under the skirting. The skirting does move on this, but this apparently is to give it a little bit more of a human form and a little bit more of a natural feel, so that'll be interesting to see. Next up, we've got something that looks like what we would have seen with the 30-minute missions kits, and that is this simple dropping mechanism underneath the butt flap, and quite the flipping up butt flap at that. All in all, this looks to be a very, very promising high grade, and unlike the G40, it maintains those very classic, yet kind of modernized Granddaddy Gundam vibes. Definitely looking forward to this. So still talking high-grade Universal Century, we've also got a release coming from the movie Hathaway's Flash. This is the high-grade Messer. It will cost 2,750 yen, and this is also coming out in June. And this looks crazily designed as well. Usually when it comes to something that has a more Zeonic vibe, something that isn't your typical Gundam look, you don't usually get the best engineering in the kit, but this might be something different. From this image here, it is kind of hard to get what is going on. It kind of looks like there is two different ab crunch joints inside of the torso that will allow it to bend forward maybe without separating all the armor. A little hard to follow, but I think I get what's going on here. It looks like it could be pretty cool. On top of that, we've also got a flipping forward shoulder section, just like we saw with that Beyond Global version of the Granddaddy Gundam, and you know me, I love kits that can fold their arms, so this makes that happen. Again, it's hard to tell from these images right here, but it seems like this might also be a non-polycap build. I hope Bandai is planning to go that way fully, at least for more serious high-grade kits, because, in all honesty, polycaps can be a bit of a pain in the butt. Anyway, once again, another absolutely astounding looking kit. Just look at that head. Awesome. So of course, Bandai can't announce a whole new plethora of kits without a bunch of high-grade Build Divers Re-Rise kits. And this one also has me pretty excited because, well, it's Core Gundam again, but it's Core Gundam Expanded. This, of course, is coming from Season 2 of Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise. That will be coming out on the 9th of April, in case you're excited about that. And of course, you can't have a Season 2 of a Gundam anime without the Season 2 upgrade of the main mobile suit, and this time, it's Core Gundam. So I love this design. I hated the original design of the Core Gundam before I got my hands on it, loved it once I had it, and now I love anything to do with it. And this looks so clean, so nice, all that white mixed with those clear parts. It's really got a nice Gundam Age vibe about it, and it's a nice little departure from the original Core Gundam. We've got those pointy feet, that nice larger, whiter chest section with the clear parts, and that big old shield. You might be like, what's the deal with the shield? But it looks like the Core Gundam 2 has a transformation gimmick. Probably not the greatest one considering how small it is, and the fact that it's just a shield on the face flight form, but it's still interesting to see how it's evolved. And speaking on how it's evolved, this whole kit, of course, is the high-grade Uraven, or Uraven Gundam, or Uranus 7 Gundam. This one is equipped with a big old sniper rifle, a whole bunch of bits, and I adore this design. I think out of all the different variants of the Core Gundam in the Planet System so far, this is my favorite of the bunch. It's that bit bigger, that bit bulkier, and on the whole, it looks pretty cool. And as for the price and release, this will be 1,760 yen, and it's out this May. So going from impressive to a bit of a disappointment, the currently unnamed kit that this is right here is just some armor. We can only assume it's like the SAT-6 or the NEP-8 or NEP-8 or I don't know if they're even going to go the Pluto route or not, or just completely kick that because it's not a planet. They should totally go that way though. But yeah, this right here is just an armor kit, so it's kind of like the Mercu 1 of Season 2. That means we get an armor kit separate, the weapon separate, and you have to buy a kit with a Core Gundam in it in order to use it. Honestly, I would have preferred just to see this with the Core Gundam and the weapons in one box for whatever the combination price is. It's less of a pain in the butt. Anyway, this armor kit right here is 935 yen and comes out also in May. Oh yeah, and those weapons you're seeing in that picture right there, sold separately in this box right here. So I've already pretty much talked about this armor already, so I don't need to. Now we've got a drill and a grabby hand, and the drill and the grabby hand cost 660 yen out the same month. So for the next announcement, I kind of have to wind things back a little bit. That is because I've never talked about this on this channel, and that is the enemy version of the Core Gundam, which currently doesn't have a name yet. So this is essentially just like Core Gundam, but it's kind of got that evil, alien, Seltsum, Eldora kind of vibe. This does come with an armor set, which is this right here. All of the armor sets from what we've seen are compatible with this, so I assume everything from this can go on the Core Gundam and the Core Gundam 2, and all the sets from those guys can go onto this and vice versa. Just so you can see, there is an image of this guy's armor on the Core Gundam, so they are compatible. So this is why I had to show that little enemy Core Gundam guy. This is a little armor set for that one too. So not only is Core Gundam getting sold separately armor sets, so is the enemy guy. And it goes with little or no need to be said, but this is based on New Gundam and it's pretty rad. Once again, a lot of this stuff does not have a name just yet, so you can assume this is some kind of New Gundam expansion, or it'll be interesting to see if this guy's little Core Gundam knockoff little evil thing or whatever it is has a naming system to its armor sets, or if it's just named after the Gundams that they're based on. Anyway, once again, it is New Gundam looking. It does not come with the weapons you're seeing right there. That is a sold separately pack yet again. But this armor right here will cost you 935 yen. It's out in June of this year. And this doesn't actually have a little jet to go on, kind of like the planet system does. This just comes with a standard armor stand. So it's kind of like the core Gundam, but a little bit more exciting in its design, but less exciting in its execution. But yeah, just like I mentioned, this picture right here, sure, you're like, that's exactly the picture you were showing a second ago, and yes, it is, but this is for a different item completely. The wing of fin funnels and the rifle, or at least that little extension rifle section, is sold separately to the armor. So this is 770 yen, also out in June of this year. The previous item we looked at was 930 yen, so you're paying 1,700 yen just for this armor set with no little Gundam section. So this is, well, to me, kind of getting a bit on the sketchy side. So with no core Gundam, you need to buy the Enemy Gundam Core Gundam set, which is 1,600 yen. So you're looking at over 3,000 yen at this point just to build what you're looking at in this picture. Honestly, there's some things that Bandai do that I can defend. This right here, I think, is absolutely asinine, honestly. Having to buy everything separately? It's just dumb. It's straight up model kit DLC, and that is terrible. Anyway, on to the next thing. So that is enough about core units, etc. We've got an update to the Volkilander, which is the X-Volkilander. So this has gone from being your orange and gold dragony variant of an SD Estrella to a Estrella-colored Estrella dragon thing. We've only got the one picture of this, so we're not seeing too much about it just yet. Assumingly, it's going to be pretty much identical to what we saw before, except a bit of a color swap and a part swap, so it'll be okay. And probably an absolute sticker nightmare. Anyway, this is coming out in June again, so a lot of these things coming out in June, and this costs 1,430 yen. So also coming out in June 2020 of this year at 2,530 yen, which is a spicy meatball, is this right here. And I am shocked this is coming out at all. I thought that we're gonna bypass this completely just for the mobile doll May. This, of course, is the high-grade Build Divers Re-Rise 1/44th scale Wodam Pod. So of course the Wodam Pod is a Season 1 mecha, so you would have expected to come out in the Season 1 wave of kits. Because it didn't, I thought it wasn't going to happen at all, so I have to say I'm pretty happy. This thing looks weird as hell. Obviously this right here is from Turn A Gundam, hence the odd look. But honestly, I love to build something unique, something a little bit different, and that is exactly what this is. On to the next one. So moving completely away from high-grade Build Divers Re-Rise, and next up we've got the high-grade Infinite Justice Gundam. So this we saw coming a mile away because the Justice Knight had a whole bunch of runners with this thing's name literally written on them. This will cost you 2,420 yen. It's coming out in May of this year, so that is pretty soon. I can honestly tell you already that this kit is going to be absolutely mind-blowingly awesome because all the parts on the Justice Knight that were from this were fantastic. Unless like they screw up the color entirely like they did back in the day with the Rose and Zulu, but hopefully they won't. The detailing on the Justice Knight was fantastic, the molding was fantastic, it felt and looked awesome, and the way those lines on the chest were color separated into it on a flat layer was so smart, so intelligent. The articulation wasn't on the same level as what we saw with the high-grade Destiny, but it was solid, it felt good, it looked good, and a lot of the time, that's all that matters. So once again, this is out in May of this year, 2,420 yen, and I'm pretty sure this will be a hit without a doubt. Next up then, we've got the high-grade Windham. This will cost 1,540 yen, it's out again in May, just like with the high-grade Infinite Justice. I've personally never seen Gundam Seed Destiny, but I adore this design. It's kind of like a Jim from Universal Century with a little bit more of a crazy, cartoony, bug kind of flair. It comes with a Jet Striker pack, which is pretty awesome, but there is one thing I did notice. The attachment point for this is what looks like a brand new sort of peg. It's not quite a 3mm hole per se, it looks more like a hole with a slot through the middle. This is a little bit of a letdown to me because I prefer when things have, well, the standard dual peg system that high grades have. That means you can use them with other kits without any kind of modification, and I don't know, this is a little bit of a disappointment. However, correct me if I'm wrong, this thing right here is using what it says there is the fine build system, but this is essentially what we have with the 30-minute missions kits. I mean, those joints look almost identical to what we get in those. Something tells me that that doesn't necessarily mean that it will be compatible with those sort of kits, but it's definitely something I'm going to try out the minute I get my hands on this thing. But anyway, once again, that is the high-grade Gundam, 1,540 yen, May this year. So on to the last bit of juicy news that we got with all of those announcements a couple of weeks ago, and the last thing, of course, is the full set of pictures for the high-grade Gundam Geminus Unit 1. So it is getting a little bit out of hand how many kits that are essentially built from the ground up, brand new awesome kits that are ending up as a premium Bandai exclusive. If you're in Asia or in Japan, that's not such a big deal because you can't just pre-order them, get them, but if you are outside of Asia, outside of Japan, they do get a little bit harder and definitely a lot more expensive to get. So it is a bit sad to see something like this, which is incredibly unique, something with a Gundam Wing vibe, but a Gundam Wing vibe on crack, be something that you can only get pretty much through a middleman. But besides that, and taking it as it is, it does look awesome. There's a lot of tiny detail, especially around a lot of the thrusters and verniers, etc. So it's hard to tell what would be stickers, what wouldn't be. For example, the grey sections on the knees and legs, they could be a section underneath that clipped through the plastic, but there isn't any information just yet on if they are or not. Around the backpack, there's a whole ton of red detailing around the verniers, and something tells me that won't be color separated either, but I can't wait to see, and I hope they prove me wrong. Anyway, without a middleman, this will cost you 2,200 yen, and also this is coming out in May of this year, so May, June, gonna be a busy season. But anyway, that is it for all of the news. I'm just gonna run through everything that's gonna be coming out between February and June of this year. That is everything that's already written on the hobby site, and let's go through this pretty quick in case you don't know about some of these things that are coming out. So just yesterday in Japan, what was released was the Master Grade Phase Verka. This thing looks absolutely awesome. The Schizophonic blog already has a full review of that up right now, which I will link down there in the description. It does look awesome. There's a whole ton of leftover parts. The head sculpt looks fantastic, and this looks like one fun monolithic kit. Cannot wait to get my hands on it. Also, this came out yesterday as well. This is the high-grade Soryu Maru, and this is kind of an interesting kit. This is a high-grade kit from Bandai Spirits that will go with a figure from Bandai Tamashii Nations, that being the Tamashii girl Aoi. So basically, they both kind of can transform and become a kind of motorcycle together, but either way, it's definitely an interesting concept, because sometimes it's easy to forget that Bandai Spirits, which makes the model kits, is essentially a completely different wing of the company to Tamashii Nations, which makes the figures. So it's kind of cool that they kind of collaborated with each other. Too bad it wasn't something a little bit more interesting. So next week, that is Friday, February 22nd, we'll be getting 4 new kits. That is the black version of the Portanova, same as we've seen multiple times before. That's 1,408 yen. As well as that, we're also getting 2 more sets of 30-minute missions, the first of which is an optional parts set. So this brings some more options, including guns and thrusters, to the table, and will put you back about 660 yen. Next up then, and this one I am so excited about, and I've heard some people mention that the 30-minute missions kits are kind of like Bandai's answer to the frame arms line. In a way they are, in a way they aren't. I'm not going to get into that argument per se, but this is definitely the most frames arms looking one so far. So this is the land battle version of the Alto, and essentially this is the most tank looking variant, actual military looking variant of the Alto to date, and I love it. It's 1,980 yen, and definitely to me looks like it's well worth that extra 500 yen. Also out that weekend, and the only actual Gunpla item, and it's a big Gunpla item, is the Perfect Grade Strike Gundam. And not just any Perfect Grade Strike Gundam, this is the full set of the Perfect Grade Perfect Strike Gundam. I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to labor on this one right here, but this is going to cost you a spicy 27,500 yen. So essentially what, like 250 euro dollars there around? But anyway, that's everything coming out that weekend. The week after that, and to round out the month, on February 29th, we're going to be getting the first Hello Kitty X Gundam kit, and that is just a, well, Hello Kitty Haro. We're also getting a SD version of Earth 3 Gundam, the SD Build Divers Re-Rise Avalanche Rex Buster for using with your SD Volkylander. We're getting a basic green Haro, yay, and the second Gundam X Hello Kitty kit, which is the SD Gundam, and the Hello Kitty that's smacked together to make the Gundam Hello Kitty SD. As for what is coming out this month premium Bandai-wise, some of these may be out already, I'm not particularly sure. There's some nice, spicy ones coming out. We've got the parts of the Perfect Grade Perfect Strike Gundam that you can slap on a standard Perfect Grade Strike Gundam if you don't want to buy the whole set and you've already got yourself a Strike Gundam. We've got the High Grade Build Divers Re-Rise Eldora Dotres, another version of Advance of Zeta's Heisen Slay. This one is the Heisen Slay 2 Ra, so essentially it's like the one we saw before, just this time in white, and it comes with the Hrududu 2 expansion parts. Next up then we've got 2 high grades from the Mobile Suit Side Story Missing Link. That is the Fred Reaper version of the Gundam Pixie, looking awesome in grey, and also looking awesome in grey is the high grade Slave Wraith with the Parachute Pack. Besides those 2 awesome high grades, then we get the real grade Unicorn Gundam Phoenix, and this is one, if not the most expensive real grade to date, which is at 12,760 yen, a whole lot of gold Unicorn Gundam. So now moving on to March, and for all of these, there is no specific release dates yet, so I'm just going to go through them in the order they are on the site. We've got the high grade Gundam, the origin version of the RX-78-2 Gundam. This looks spectacular. Super looking forward to this. It will cost you 2,530 yen. Once again, no specific release date. And if that wasn't awesome enough, this one I'm super looking forward to. This is the high-grade Gundam Marcosius, or Marchosius. I always screw up with that name. Of course, this is the Calamity War era of the Gundam Hajiroboshi, which is from the game Iron-Blooded Orphans Uru Hunt, if I'm not mistaken. So going from exciting to even more exciting, we've got the real grade Ava Unit 1. So we have a real grade Ava coming out, which is off the charts awesome. I don't even know what size this is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be like. But from what we can see from the images so far, it looks awesome. There's 2 variants at 4,950 yen. We've got the standard variant, and at 7,150 yen, you've got the DX set with a little bit of extra in the box. Next up then on the list, we've got some 30-minute missions kits. So these are fairly basic. Well, the first one is, second one not so much. The basic one, of course, is the grey version of the Alto, so just like we would have seen multiple times before, same price as usual, that is 1,400 yen. And the other version is the underwater variant of the Portanova. This thing looks crazy, it's yellow and purple. And just like any of the other expansion variants of these kits, this is 1,980 yen, and it looks like a whole lot of fun. Speaking of expansions, in March we'll finally be able to finish off the Mercu 1 unit, because we'll finally be getting the weapons. So there's not much to say about these, they're just a bunch of weapons. The Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise ball keeps rolling because we also get, in March, the high-grade Gundam GLs. I did talk about this before a little bit more in another video, but as far as I remember, this is from the manga Shining Break. Then we got this. It's just another high-grade bear, just this time with some Justice Knight theming to it. That's about it. As for the premium Bandai releases in March, we've got another mission pack for the Gundam F90, that is B-Type and K-Type, aka Missiles and a Shield. We've got another couple of Missing Link releases, that is the high-grade Jim. This again is Slave Wraith, and this once again has a parachute pack. Next up then we've got the high-grade Ifrit, that is the Dark Schneid version. And finally we've got a variant of the high-grade Jim Guard Custom. This time it's got a new weapon and a slightly different color scheme. As for April, there isn't as many announcements, so expect to hear more in future for that particular month. But the biggest release we have, of course, is the real grade Force Impulse Gundam. At 3,300 yen, this looks like it's going to be just as good as what we've been seeing with recent real grades, aka it doesn't have that little pre-assembled inner frame, it's got an actual, almost miniature master grade kind of inner frame. Looking forward to that. It is also in April that we will be seeing that evil version of the core Gundam I already talked about. Next up then we've got a fairly expensive high-grade Build Divers Re-Rise kit that is 3,080 yen, and it's essentially the son of the Ogre Gen X and the GPO2. I honestly don't know how this kit is going to turn out. I'm definitely not feeling hopeful for it. We're getting a brand new Haropla, which is the Haro Loader. We're also getting an SD variant of Barbatos Lupus Rex. That's pretty cute, pretty fun. And as for 30-minute missions releases, we're getting the next main robot from this line. So this is not an Alto or a Portanova. This is the Rabiot. So basically, it's like a bigger, buffer version of the Alto. We also get a couple of accessories kits for these. That is the optional armor for the Rabiot. This kind of looks like just some heavy lifting machinery. This comes in either yellow or dark brown. And we'll be getting a couple of different kinds of scenic bases. The first one looks kind of like a sandy desert. The second one looking like a hangar. Rounding out April then, of course, is the P-Bandai kits. We've got some juicy kits coming out in April. That is the Master Grade Gundam Death Scythe Rosette. Pretty pricey at 4,950 yen, considering that the EW Master Grades from Gundam Wing were some of the cheapest ever Master Grades, so it is a bit on the pricey side. And coming in at exactly the same price is a variant of the Luna Maria Gunner Zaku Warrior. This, of course, is the Master Grade / Phantom. And seriously, I adore, and I mean adore, that color scheme. As for high grades, we're getting the high grade Zeta Plus in the test image colors, and the high grade Vargil. So just in case you're not familiar with the Vargil, this is essentially the Moon Gundam, which was the first ever high grade I gave Gundarium Tier 2, in purple, with a Sazabi head, backpack, and gun. This thing is going to be awesome. Moving right on into May, and I've talked about some of these earlier on in the video. When it comes to Gundam Build Divers, we're getting the Eura 7 Gundam, the potentially named SAT-6 Gundam, as well as the weapon set for that potentially SAT-6 Gundam. We've got both of the high-grade Sea Destiny kits, which is the Wingdom and the Infinite Justice. And for me, the biggest release of that month, of course, is the Master Grade Gundam Kyrios from Gundam 00. As for the 30-minute missions kits we will be getting that month, we're just getting some color variants of the armor we saw in April, as well as a color variant of the Rabiot we saw in April, a color variant of the desert we saw in April, now it is snow, and the only thing that is unique is the 2 jet-like backpacks. P-Bandai in May is fully loaded. We're getting the high-grade Gundam Unit 4, the high-grade Zaku Desert Type, the high-grade Gundam Geminus, and the Reborn 100 Jacko. So moving now into the last month we've got information about, and that is June of this year. As for the re-rise kits we're getting the high-grade Build Divers re-rise Gundam Tri-Age Magnum, the X-Volkilander that we talked about already, the Woden Pod we talked about already, as well as the new Gundam armor and weapons for the evil variant of the Core Gundam, and more than likely you'll be able to put them onto the Core Gundam as well. As for non-re-rise kits, we've got that Beyond Global version of the high-grade Granddaddy, the high-grade Messer, an SD version of Phoenix Gundam. As for 30-minute missions kits, we're now getting the 4th base set, so that is after the Alto, after the Portanova, and after the Rabiot, we're now getting the Shield Nova. So we're getting a green version and a dark gray. As well as the actual base sets, there is going to be armor, which is these armor sets with a massive gauntlet. The gray one has a bit of a knight vibe. The red one has a bit of a Char Aznable vibe. And we're also going to be getting some more option sets. So we're getting some effects in yellow, some effects in blue, what looks like a shrunken cityscape to, I guess, imply distance from the ground. That is a action base. And we're also getting a color variant of the flight type Alto, this time in orange and white. If that isn't enough, we're also getting another amplified Digimon kit, which is the Metal Garurumon. We're also getting some more real grade Evangelion. This time it is Eva Unit 0, the prototype one. Once again, there's 2 variants. That is the base kit at 4,950 yen, and then there is the DX kit, which comes with a huge gun at 7,150. Lastly then, there is also going to be a variant of the high-grade Eva, but who gives a shit? Anyway, the last of anything I'm going to be talking about today is the Premium Bandai stuff coming out in June, and what we're getting is a real grade Destiny Gundam with a titanium finish, and a TV color version of the real grade Tall Geese. So that is all the stuff that we have to look forward to this year. But anyway, that right there is it for the video. As always with one of these, let me know down there in the comments what it is you're the most excited about that is coming up. And let me know what you want to see reviewed here on the channel. Personally, I'm super excited for the Master Grade Kyrios, of course, anything that is 30-minute missions, especially the new units, and that Beyond Global version of the high-grade Granddaddy has definitely got me psyched. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Once again, all my thanks to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. As always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla news and reviews, and of course, I'll see you next time. Of course, I can't end this video right here without the shout out to all of you who support me on the channel memberships and over on Patreon, like Craig Jury, Kaiser721, Forged Horizons, Bolwick, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhart, and Hank Handsome.